All right, we are recording from our home studios in Santa Rosa Beach, Florida.
That's right.
And Lynchburg, Virginia here. We're recording this before March Madness even starts, but by the time that you watch this, if anybody watches this or hears it, it's going to be all over, more than likely. Right. And let's go ahead and assume, Rice, that our brackets are going to be busted completely.
It's probably a pretty decent assumption. But first, what I think we should do is break down like the craziest thing I think we've ever done. Like we created and ran our own marathon.
That's nuts. Hey, this is the RunHard Brothers Podcast, episode 1. We'll call this the pilot episode. We're going to be talking about running, life, faith, everything in between. Lots of cool stuff. And you might even hear people yelling at TVs and stuff in the background. Who knows? This is real life here.
It's
so welcome to the RunHard Brothers Podcast. Let's get this started. All right, welcome to the first episode. How do you feel? Here we go. This is what we're doing.
We're going to see how it rolls. We're going to figure it out as we go. But it's exciting because we get to do it, hang out together. We'll see if we can bring any decent content to the mic.
So first, and I guess most important, but we'll stay only a little bit on this. We're brothers. I'm Cody Mumaw. I am the younger of the two, obviously.
Funny. That's funny. I am Reist, the more experienced of the two, obviously. And yet we share similar haircuts.
That's right. That's why mine is covered up with something actually really great. Really applies to this whole conversation that we're going to have today. The podcast today is really about us two brothers, one marathon, a lot of stories. We're gonna have a lot of fun with this. But overall, this podcast, we're going to kind of see where it goes. We're definitely going to hit a lot about running, endurance, but life lessons, random stuff, all the good things. But like you said, marathon recap today, lessons learned, and then maybe we'll touch a little bit of March Madness. I'm watching North Carolina, San Diego State over here go at it. Yeah. So we'll talk about that a little bit. Hey, since it's us two, we're not really interviewing each other, so. No. While we were together, we said, why don't we tell ChatGPT what we did and have it interview us? And so we got a bunch of questions. I guess we can kind of throw them back and forth at each other and answer those questions. Maybe as we're doing this, we can throw up some pictures of some of the stuff that we did. And if anything, it's good. Yeah, there's some good ones. There's some good videos of this too. Yes. Let's talk first and foremost. One of the things Chat asked us, it wanted a little bit of background on how we even got to the point where two guys come to run a marathon. This isn't our first rodeo, definitely not your first rodeo. So first question, what got each of us into running and why do we keep running? Why don't you talk about that a little bit, because you actually jumped in it a little bit before I did. Sort of.
Yeah, I mean, mine started off as every person should get into running. I made fun of your wife, my sister-in-law.
That's right.
When she ran a marathon. She ran a marathon to really honor her mother who had beaten breast cancer. And when Christina had run that marathon, I gave her so much grief about that marathon, saying how dumb it was, all the way up to the point that she ran it. And then after she ran it, she was sitting around talking about running it and why I was giving her grief on the outside. Inside, I was like secretly impressed, but I was really giving it to her to the point she was like, hey, you, Mr. Athlete, I bet you can't run one. And I'm like, it's just running. I can run one. So I showed up to the next year at the same marathon and ran it, almost probably keeled over. If it wasn't for the fact that Cody ran out on the course and found me wandering around.
Wasn't that the one you had a broken foot?
Yeah, I may or may not have a displaced fracture in the foot, but I was so determined to finish. And everybody wants to know where RunHard Always Finish started. When I was at mile 20 of that very first marathon, I was dying a slow death. And my son met me and he looked at me and he's like, are you going to win? And I mean, I'm about second to last place in this thing. And my wife said, hey, just keep running hard. I know you're going to finish. And it just kind of stuck with me. So my running started basically by Christina telling me that I wasn't going to do it, but I was inspired by Cody's wife, Christina, to start running. And it turned into an absolute obsession / passion.
The crazy thing is you got off the plane using a cane.
I did.
You had to use a cane to walk.
But I couldn't give in to Christina. Like I couldn't give in to her. She had said and so it did. And I mean, if 23 marathons, couple ultra marathons later, it is, it's a part of my life now for sure.
Yeah. Yeah. That's kind of really where it started for us. I ran that second year. Christina started it again, in an Oklahoma airport, getting ready to board, pulled up Runner's World magazine. And there was the advertisement for the breast cancer marathon, the Run with Donna, which is an incredible marathon down in Jacksonville. Yeah. But she looked at me, she said, do you think I can do this? None of us had ever run. I mean, running was like a punishment in sports, is if you did something bad, you had to run.
We were cliches. We're not going to run. That's a punishment. Like we didn't realize that was a thing that people said.
But when your wife asks you if she can do something, you say, of course you can. I believe in you. And she went out and everybody, you weren't the only one, even her brothers, everybody was saying, why would you run when the car can take you so much faster? And, but then the next year, I think we brought like 20 or 30 people down with us to Jacksonville. We had people running the full, we had people running the half, and then we ran a relay.
Right. Yeah, there was, in fact, my son was 10. Ran the first mile with us because Christina and I ran together for the full marathon, and everybody was in the relay was joining us. We brought a busload down there that year.
Yeah, so from that point on, my race has been the half marathon. I've loved the half marathon. I've only run a couple marathons at this point, but I love the 13-mile, probably because it's. I mean, I hate to say it this way, but it's an easy one to just jump in and run and not die, which both of my marathons have been done in a way that, I want to push close to death and see how that goes. So we'll get into that later. But overall, how has running impacted your life outside of physical benefits? Chat's asking us.
Yeah, no, it's
outside of the physical.
Yeah, no. There's a certain level of grit that you learn by being a runner. I think that when you're doing other form in work and you have something that needs to get done and you go, I only need 3 more to go. Like I attribute that to running. Like I say, just 3 more and I got that finish line. Well, the finish line might be loading 3 more bales of hay on the truck, but I'm going to get that done. So the physical benefits are evident. It's what it does mentally to you, to just not quit, just make sure that you finish whatever task it is that you are up against at that time.
Yeah, for me, it's the same way. I look at really several races, but for me, it's also the day in, day out, the realizing that in order to pass the test, you got to prepare for it. And it's runs when nobody's looking, runs when you don't want to, and nobody's telling you to go do it. Like if I don't run, nobody's going to come behind me and say, man, you should have done it. But when I hit that test, it's going to be revealed. And so for me, it's that lesson in every part of life that you are going to be examined to see how you've prepared. Yeah. And running is a brutal examiner for sure.
Yeah, I mean, there is no cheating the race. You can't skip and hope you're going to win. You got to put that work in. So no, that's for sure. It
also you always say trust the training, and I think that's another thing. You learn to trust the preparation. When I get up to go speak to a group of students, and like I still get nervous to get in front of people, and I've been doing it for 30 years, but when you've planned and you've prepared, when you've done all the things, that it's just a special thing when you're ready to go for sure.
Sure.
Last thing on our preparation, chat wants us to know is what's the hardest part of running that most people don't understand? That's a hard question.
Yeah, I think that A lot of people think it is putting sneakers on and running, and the hard part is getting out of the house in the morning and doing that, because you hear that talk about all the time, that it's so hard. You got to do all these hard things. The hard things for me are, and people don't understand, is that if you make a mistake on hydration, if you make a mistake on not eating the right way, it jumps up and grabs you like you're just not ready for it. Or side note, if you make proper preparation where the porta johns are, you're going to be in a lot of trouble. But I think the hardest
something
part
that's always going to jump up in Run Hard podcast is porta johns.
Yeah,
that's always going to be a conversation.
It's going to be a conversation. But I think the hardest part that people just don't understand is that it's so much more than just running. It is. There's so many factors in there, and the weather, all these type of things, that just the physical act of running. People are like, oh, I don't want to do it. But you got to eat different. You got to sleep different. You got to do all these kind of things if you want to be successful at it. If you don't want to go out there and it turn into a nightmare, you got to do all these little things. And sometimes people just like, if I buy the best shoes, I'm going to be good. And it's just not the way it is.
For me, the hardest part is consistency. That you have to be consistent, or else you can easily get defeated. There was a time during this training where, because of the important things in my life, it's not that I didn't have something important to do, but because of that, I missed a week and a half, and you come back and I feel like, man, I'm starting all over. And there is a mental hurdle that you got to get over of just get out and keep going. But that's really hard to teach yourself. And so for me, being consistent in it is hard. And you and I both have heard this now. I mean, people look and go, man, you guys are over 50. Shouldn't you stop running? Yeah. Isn't it going to beat you down? But no, I love it. But
I think there's one other thing too, Cody, that people just don't understand, is that your ego can be your greatest enemy. When you're out there for a run, you get so wrapped up on this clock that if it starts saying something that you don't feel will be viewed very positively on Strava or whatever it is, you can shut down. You can say, I'm just not going to do it. Your ego can stop you. Sometimes you just have to realize, hey, it's a bad day, or sometimes I'm going to run slower, and people are going to think, oh, you don't run very fast. So what? The running should be for you, and it shouldn't be for what the Strava tells you. People get so wrapped up in that. And the hard part, and I don't think people understand, is, man, running's for you. And so your ego can mess you up, big time.
So for this pilot episode, the main character of this episode is the RunHard Brothers Marathon. Yeah. Where did this thing come from? And I don't know if you want to lead into this part of the conversation here, but yes, on March 16th, 2025, whether we ever do it again or not, we ran the first ever RunHard Brothers Marathon, unofficially sponsored by Cheerwine, and you had your
Coke
Zero hat on, and it was something else. So let's talk about that a little bit.
Well, backing it up, the reason that March 16th became something important is that I signed up for a marathon, and I signed Cody up too, and then I told him that he was going to run. I signed him up, got it.
You just sent me the sign up.
Yeah, I didn't even call him. I just sent him a sign up, said, hey, you're signed up for a marathon. So that started it. And if I was to back it up a little bit more, Cody really got in and pushed me to get back into really focusing on my running back in July. And I had to find something. I wanted something to go after, and this was a good marathon. It was a solid marathon to go after, and we were excited about it. And if you followed our videos and our training, you saw how we were into it. There was countdowns, the whole thing. We were ready. And then the week before came, and we started looking at the weather, and it was bad weather, and we were like, maybe we'll get better. And then on Saturday beforehand, they didn't fully cancel the marathon, but there was no way that Cody and I were going to finish the marathon. So to drive all the way down there and then not be able to go across the finish line and not get a medal and not have assistance out on the course, it just didn't make any sense. And just in true enough fashion of Cody and myself, we decided to create our own. And this is where Cody does what Cody does, is in less than a minute, we had like bibs and a logo. And that was, and I mean, I'm sure right now you're going to show the logo here. But yeah, we jumped in that thing pretty quick.
We even put it, I mean, nobody's going to come and join us, but we were like, hey, why don't we put it out and let people come join us? But yeah, we were over at seeing our dad, and we're sitting there and it popped up on the email. We looked at each other on the ride back. By the time we rode back, we had already figured out what course we were going to do here in Lynchburg, Virginia. And you were like, let's do the RunHard Brothers Marathon, the alternate RunHard Brothers alternate marathon. And we got on Strava and planned it out, found where we could do a start finish right at the same point. And
cracking the asphalt.
Yep. And so leading up to, I mean, we're thinking we're going to be running the American Tobacco Trail, 26 miles, pretty flat. This wasn't bad, but it wasn't as easy as I would hope. But no, leading up, I mean, to the race, it's funny. You think you're going to do one thing and then you do another. How does something like that? How did that affect you thinking of staying here versus staying in a hotel? I honestly loved it.
Yeah, I think I said it a couple times to you guys, especially afterwards, and this is normal. Like when I've run all my marathons, I've never been home. I've always, you get done, you go back to the hotel. I think only the marathon that I've run in St. Charles, Missouri, have I been able to go home afterwards. So I was already mindset of when I'm done, I'd go to the hotel by myself and you guys would go home back up to Lynchburg. So it was kind of cool. When we got done, I went back to your house and Christina's cooking the best food you ever had in your life, post-race food ready to roll. So when we decided we were going to do it, there was a letdown of not being able to run a race that was going to count, right? That was going to count, that we were going to get a medal, and we put all this effort in. But then when you really step back, my whole goal for running this race was to run it with you. Like that was the goal, right. Was that I wanted to run 26.2 miles with you. And we've always done things. We've gone on trips where we drive a bug across the country together. We go to races with your son. We do these things as brothers. Why wouldn't we do something like this? Why wouldn't we have our very own marathon where it's only us and we were only dependent on each other to get to the finish line? Why wouldn't we do it? So it went from disappointment to this is what we do. This is how we do things. And it turned out better than I can ever imagine.
The crazy thing for me was the absolute joy that people had. We put that video out saying, because a lot of people were following us. Hey, good luck. Hope you guys do well. More so than I thought. You and I both commented on the fact that we had people reaching out to us that we hadn't talked to for years.
Oh yeah.
Wishing us well. And then, so we're like, hey, let's put out a video and tell people what's going on. And people loved the idea of us doing our own marathon. So, when it comes to not counting, suddenly what counting means changed for us.
It did.
Because we were going to run that. And then the next thing was how our family jumped in. I wish Andrea could have been here because that would have been so fun. She would have been all over being with Christina.
Oh, yeah.
But
she would have been loud too.
I mean, immediately Christina's like, I can be out on the course and I can bring the water. And we had spots where they could, we're not going to have, aid stations every 2 miles, but we sure enough did have the ability to see them every 4 to 6 miles on the way. And so there were a lot of things that in a very short period of time went from shoot, man, we can't go do this thing to how awesome is this going to be?
Yeah. And no joke, we ran with our own bibs. We created bibs. You created bibs. We had them on.
With safety pins and all.
Safety pins and all, to the point that while we were running, other runners that were on this trail, because it's just a public trail. I mean, it's just people out walking their dogs and all this stuff. You could hear them as we ran past questioning whether or not they they were unaware that there was a race happening today on the trail. And of course, there was only 2 of us, so we were either winning or we were way behind, but that was up to them to decide which way that was happening.
And I kind of think in reality we were both. We were winning, but we were also at the very tail end of the whole marathon.
It was,
we were bringing up the end.
We were both elites and back of the packers all at the same time.
Yeah. Fun fact, the day before on that trail was St. Patrick's Day 5K. I don't know if you noticed there was markings on the on the course.
I did see that. Yeah, for sure.
Now, the crazy thing is we planned this marathon, the weather that was coming through Cary, North Carolina was also supposed to come through here. So it's not that we were going to avoid it. It showed that by 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock, that there was 85 to 90% chance of absolute downpour and 30 plus miles an hour of wind supposed to be there. But we were like, okay.
Yeah, or worst case scenario, we'll just go back and watch basketball. Like, I mean, that's the thing. We could.
Yeah, what's going to ruin our day? You can't. I mean, the reality is we weren't going to run anyway. So if we got to run some, hey, that's cool. That's
right. And the goofiness that we are is we probably could have started at 5 a.m. and really missed all of any chance of the storm.
Yeah, so let's get to the race itself.
Yeah, but the marathon was scheduled for 7 a.m., so we scheduled our marathon for 7 a.m. And we got up early, just like it would if we were at the hotel. We ate our breakfast. We had our packet pickup, which was at Walmart because we needed safety pins. Like, if we're going to do a marathon and we're going to call it the RunHard Brothers Marathon, we did it. Like, we did race announcements before the race. We did a countdown so everybody knew how much time they had to use the
Star Spangled Banner.
We had the Star Spangled Banner. We did not skip anything because, well, that's how we do things. Look, when Cody and I were young, we would play wiffle ball and
just the two of us. And we lived on a ranch and we would do it inside of the rodeo corral, and we had home runs and we had certain rules to it. And we've always done things, and this was no different. If someone would have shown up to run, they would have thought that there was some semblance of organization to this marathon because we had. Well, I mean, there kind of was. We thought through it.
We had where the aid stations were going to be, where the breakdown. Cody had it mapped out that we knew exactly if we get to this point, it needs to be this amount of mileage in order for it to be 26.2 when it ended. So it wasn't like we just showed up and just ran and stopped at 26.2. We knew where we needed to be. So,
for the record, when we came back into Riverwalk Park, right there, we were at 26.2. We did it on the dot.
And in true marathon fashion, my watch said a little bit more, his said a little bit less, because we were running corners, tangents. Like this was
throw up points.
Yeah. Look at this was not an official in the world of running, but in Cody and my world, we ran a marathon. And don't get it twisted.
All day for the last couple of days, people have asked me about our marathon.
Yeah.
And so we ran a marathon. So let's talk about the race itself.
Okay.
Like you said, we got up really early. I think we got up about 4 o'clock and started eating and getting hydrated, preparing. I had a nervous stomach. I mean, it's just the two of us. We're going to run from a local park, and I feel like it's game day.
Yeah.
And then we go get the pins. We show up. The whistle blows. I mean, the horn blows, and then we're off. What were some of the best moments of the first part of the race?
I think the first part of the first part of the race.
Calling it a race.
It's a race. I was racing myself. No, I think at the beginning of that race, we had talked a lot about making sure that we stayed under control. We didn't go out too fast. And we went out too fast. Like we started, right? You couldn't help yourself. But I felt like I didn't feel like we were just out for a run. I felt like we were running a race. Like I knew what was in front of us. We had 26 miles in front of us. And I felt it. I felt like I didn't, I could have looked around and there could have been 1,000 people running with us or just you and I believe. And I could be wrong. I believe that if we were running in the Tobacco Road Marathon, or we were running in the Donna, or we were running the Chicago Marathon, because this race had been so singularly focused on you and I running together, I don't think my feeling would have been much different. 1,000 people around me, or just you and I running.
Yeah.
We hit that trail. We knew where we were going. I think the one thing that was good is you were so familiar with where you were running, because it was your trail, that helped. You talked me through the different areas and what it was. So right out of the box, it was about, this is what we have been training, is for you and I to run this marathon.
Yeah, for me it was fun. I don't know. I'm very nostalgic, and I love history. Yeah. And it was a very unique thing to start out in the downtown of Lynchburg, Virginia, a town that we've claimed as our own. Yeah. Maybe if this podcast goes on one day, we'll talk about our backstory, all the history. But Lynchburg is where things came together for us. So it's a very, very special place for us. So to run in a restored downtown that is so beautiful, and then to go out on the Blackwater Creek Trail, run through a tunnel that was made in 1852, and to run on this old steam engine, and just see the sights and see that it was just really cool. Now, we were going uphill for 4.5 miles.
There was a total of 9 miles running uphill.
Yeah, we felt that. But no, the first half was just really neat to be out there to watch the sun come up. We didn't meet Christina until almost 9 miles into it, because we went to the top. We were loaded down with enough stuff to make it through. Yeah. But for me, that was a cool thing. It's just running in a place that meant something to the both of us. It was pretty neat.
Yeah, I think
you talked to.
I think just to follow that, I think at some point when we do, if this podcast rolls, is where we want it to go and how we want it to lay out, is that we will talk about that. But Lynchburg is something you and I can claim together. Like, we don't have a lot of places in our life that we can really claim together. It's always like spread, but Lynchburg, like I was there. I got there on Wednesday before our race, and I spent time driving around town to all the places that meant a lot to me. And I realized how much they overlap with you, because this is our town, and this is the things you have, like, such history there. And I have such history there, where we don't have a lot of history other places. Lynchburg, we do. Right. And so while we were running in our joint. That was our place.
Right. Yeah. And we won the first one. So
we did. Let's just be fair. Let's just be fair. You won. It says you won, no matter how we look at it. And I looked at the video. I've examined the video. I've spun it in 360, and the way we crossed the line, your foot's gigantic, but your foot went across.
That was the difference.
And remember, in running, it's about when the chest goes across. Doesn't matter when the foot goes across. Doesn't matter. It's when the chest crosses the line. And my arm was around you, and I was pushing you forward as my brother. And I realized that it messed me up, because by being that support, I lost the first marathon.
We should have ran that last 10 feet and collapsed. Ran as fast as we could, sprinted. I would have died.
Wait, you did? You did?
Yeah, right.
I was flat out.
I love the aid stations. It was really cool. It was very memorable for me to come back down when we hit mile 9, and again, for it to be our thing that we were doing, and we kind of made it up. But to come around that corner, we came back through downtown, and we came back into the park where there was a parking lot, and to have Christina there screaming and yelling and being excited.
Yeah.
That was
watching
other
people
very
in that parking lot go, what the heck is going on right now? Yeah, that was fun.
Yeah. She was filming, and we stopped. We did give ourselves the permission to take a moment, because we had no aid stations along the way. We had to stop and unload all of the stuff that we'd been carrying and reload back up, and then go. But for those moments to be there with them, my kids were there. There's a rejuvenation that no electrolytes, no running gel, nothing can give you, when them to hear, Christina say, "You guys can do it. So proud of you. Keep going." That was cool, because from that point on, We saw her when we came back through at 14 miles, and then by the time that we hit 18.7 or whatever up at the top of that run again, my life was different at that point.
Your life was different, and I was watching it. I was watching the difference happening for sure.
So let's talk about that. ChatGPT says, "Hey, when did things start getting tough?" And we got you through those moments. For me, I'll describe this like the real wall was really at 20. At 16, 17, 18, I was starting to feel it. But I could have continued on, but I was hurting in 16, 17, 18. But really at 18 and 19, I knew. I told you, I said, man, it's getting tough.
Yeah.
But for me, it was between that mile 20, mile 21 when I finally gave over to the forces of evil.
Yeah. So I noticed on that as we were going back up that the second time we were going back up the hill, which takes us into 15 and 16 to 17 and then 18 when we turned around, I noticed at like 16 that it just wasn't the same step that you were having. And on top of that, just so you guys know, that when you run with Cody, it's going to be a history lesson. It's going to be a Baba lesson. It's going to be you're going to get a talk about this. He's always got something going. And all of a sudden, my portable podcast was shut off. There was just nothing happening over here.
I was done.
And so I asked him just like real quick. I just like, hey, what if we went to like maybe run 4 minute, kind of go into the Galloway system, everybody the Galloway and go 4 and 1. And when he responded with yes right away, I knew we needed to, and we did. And we moved right along, right up the hill. But I knew there was something happening. And you hadn't told me yet that your stomach was going sideways. It wasn't until we got to 18.
You remember I looked, I'd said, like I remember it was right at mile 17, right before we got to the top. I realized like I was out of fuel. I mean, at the end of the race, I mean, the overall thing said I burned over 4,300 calories, and that's an immense amount. And I lost 11 pounds.
Yeah.
In that, and so I was absolutely, so my stomach, the only thing it had left was the running gels, and that was. My stomach's like, nope, I need something. I mean, so that's part of what I learned on this.
Right.
And Christina's like, I wish I had a bar or something for you to eat. But it's a cool thing to learn. But yeah, I knew, I'm like, I got nothing left to run on. These running gels are not doing it for me, but I got to get to the end. For me, I knew I got Reist here. I'm going to run. And if not, he's going to have to carry me the rest of the way, but we're getting to the end of this race.
And when we turned on 18, it's back downhill. Now understand, everyone, it's not this. It is just this long grind up. It's 4 miles up, but we had that come back down. But we were not picking up a lot of steam. And that's when I realized that your stomach was going. Like you said it when we were up at 18, but then I really realized it because, I mean, it was just visible that you were struggling with the stomach. And once the stomach goes, I don't care how strong your legs are or how strong your mental game is, the stomach will jack you up. And then that's when some really epic times came.
So we made it through the tunnel. We made it through the tunnel, but not far on the other side of the tunnel. I just like done, walked over and I mean, let's just get to it. I walked over to the side and every bit of sports drink and gear that I had decided at one moment, hey, we don't like it in here anymore. And we really want to stay in Lynchburg. And so it came out on the side of the trail really fast.
It was biblical.
And loud.
It was biblical. It was a demon exiting the body. It was so loud. Like, it was like you were mad.
We're in this little canyon.
Oh yeah, we're in a canyon.
So
but it was like you were mad.
It was something.
Mad projectile. It was mad. It was crazy. Like I didn't know what to do. I
also wanted to get done with it. I'm like, I'm not afraid to do it. Like,
no, you were not.
Yeah, I mean, I'm going to be fine. I knew I was going to be fine. I was like, I'm good. As soon as I can get this out, I'll get up and go.
Yeah. Well, you did.
And we did.
You did. And the funniest part about it, so is that I was trying very hard because a couple times I had taken off a little too quick, and Cody would tell me, "Hey, we're going too fast." His watch, and so I had resonated to staying like 2 steps behind him. We were running his pace. We were about getting this done. He does this whole thing on the side of the road. We get up and take off, and I like look down at my shorts for a second. I look up, and he's like 15 yards ahead of me. He takes off like a crazy man, like he had just been released from, well, the demon. I had to tell him to slow down, but it wasn't the end, but it got us to her. It got us to Christina at 22. That helped us get to that point. I don't think we would have got there very well if you hadn't done that, because if you hadn't released that nausea, you would have, because we were slowing down to almost a nothing at that point.
Yeah. Well, and it was good. And I remember looking at you and I said, I'm good for this quarter mile. I don't know how I'll be down the road. And I was good for a while.
Yeah.
Like I was good until our turnaround, when we got all the way down to mile 23. I mean, good in the sense of I wasn't nauseated. And
we kept our routine. We were doing 2s and 1s, and we were doing just fine. and then I got revisited one more time because I was trying to keep some fluid in, but it just didn't want to stay. And that poor dude that was following us on the bike. Well, first of all, if you guys don't know Cody is 6 foot a million. He's 6'5". He's a gigantic human. He's just a big dude. And we're running, and I felt like we were kind of, all of a sudden I realized, wait, something's happening, because he just started veering, and then he went down like somebody hit his knees with a baseball bat. And in that point of going down, again, every goo and whatever came out with such anger, such anger. And there was a guy following us on a bike, and he was mortified. He didn't know what was happening. He wouldn't even look at the point. He just drove by us. And I'm just
who would look?
And I just looked, and I was up just a little bit. He looked at me. I was like, dude, we're really tired. We're really, really tired. Because Cody was just laying on the side of the road at this point. So, but it got that.
I got up and went.
We got up and went, and it was needed. And we got, it was one foot in front of the other the rest of the way there. And at one point I had said, Cody, look, we got like 2 miles to go. If we need to walk this thing, we're going to walk this thing. And that was met with a really, really negative no. That's not going to happen. And then he takes off again. And then we took off. And so we went. We kept rolling.
Yep. Yeah. No, it was cool. It was cooperation. It was what it was. But, one of the questions on here was there ever a moment that either of you thought of stopping? And, in all of that, as much as it hurt, I knew my legs felt great. Mm-hmm. My body felt great, except for my digestion. Like even after the race, I recouped once all that was gone. My legs feel like I feel like I could go run now. I'm taking it a little easy, but nope. Didn't feel. You saw it. I wasn't going to stop.
There was
not unless my body just couldn't go.
Yeah, there was zero chance that I was stopping. I figured there was zero chance that we were stopping. I did. The only thing I could think of is that last time that you went down, because you went down so fast, like it caught me off guard, and then you wouldn't answer me. You were just like really about your business there. I thought at that point, if this doesn't stop, there's a chance I'm gonna have to call Christina. And that's a last ditch.
Wait a minute. I did communicate with you.
Yeah.
I did communicate with you. As I was going down, I said, hit the watch.
Yeah. I did.
Hit the watch.
Stop the watch for a throw up. But I did. I thought if I need to get Christina, because Christina's the only one that's going to get him know what to do, because what do I know what to do? I'm just, come on, man, let's run. That's about what I had. That's kind of, I did. And that's what and just me trying to help him up was hilarious. Cause let's not get it twisted. My legs were tired too. Like, I'm at mile 24 of a marathon, and I don't care how many you've run. you're tired at that point, whether you're in great shape or not great shape. And I'm trying to lift him up on the side of the road. If someone would got a video of that, that would have probably been a viral moment at that point. Me funny. Lifting my brother up off the side of the road. So
I think for retrospect, before we talk about the finish line and kind of bring all this to a close, we have to talk about the weather because it did not rain. I mean, it sprinkled some, and we did get a little bit wet, but we didn't get wet really. But the wind was some kind of epic proportion. I've not been in many things like that where there's no real storm around you, but trees are flying off of cliffs at you. Yeah. That was crazy.
Big trees falling down. In fact, that one tree that broke, it sounded like the back of a dump truck when the door slams. It was enough that made us both jump. And then we look off to the side, and to understand where we're running on an old railroad trail with a big valley. On the other side, there's a big cliff that's, I don't know, quarter of a mile away. I mean, it's maybe 500 feet away, and trees all on this thing. And the biggest tree comes down and it's tumbling, which made our focus look down our path, which is covered by trees, going, where's the Widowmakers at? Because it was just like, we've got to get out of this trail. And you add to running into that type of wind, which is just, you might as well be running uphill. So, it wasn't like we were running on a beautiful sunny day downhill the whole way with a light mist keeping us cool the whole way. We still had but we also didn't have a hot sun. We had nice cloud cover, and we were never running in a downpour. There was no deluge. We were in pretty good shape in that place.
All right, finishing this out. Come across the finish line, come around the corner into Riverwalk Park. Christina and kids are there. Love sign is there. There's love signs all over Lynchburg. Big old love sign there. Had my cheer wine cooler. That you've been in 22. This what's 23rd marathon?
23rd marathon. Yeah.
Tell me about the finish line for you. What was that like for you?
So when you set out to accomplish something, whether it's a 3-mile run, it's the Chicago Marathon, which I've run across the finish line of the Chicago Marathon, absolutely just ecstatic to do it, but I did it by myself. I've never run a marathon with anybody. I've never run it with you, let alone you, like my brother, like the one I've been wanting to do. So when we came around that corner and the kids were cheering, and there was literally a line on the asphalt where we had started and where we were going to end. And I knew that when we crossed that, we could stop hurting. We could drink our sodas. We could sit down. Nobody was going to, it was a finish line, and it was a finish line that meant something. And granted, there was no clock except what was on our watches. There was no sanctioning body. There was no anything. It was you and me, and we had just grinded out 26.2 miles, actually a little bit more.
26.47, I think.
Our finish line was there. It was as good a finish line as I've had. Like, it was good. And again, you're right. I've run everything from little tiny marathons to gigantic marathons. The finish line's the sweetest thing. Like, whatever it is. Yeah. And you've heard me do it in my videos. Like, I'm running to that fire hydrant, and this was the Chicago Marathon on steroids for me.
Let's be real. I crossed the finish line, and I went behind the love sign and had to retch a little bit there too.
Yeah. So I want you guys.
But it felt so good though.
When we put out the video for the race, and you see us cross the finish line, and Cody is all about it. Like, we just finished this, and we're doing this, and we're hugging each other out, and he's grabbing his cheer wine, and then as soon as we say the camera's off, that dude was done. Like, he looks like he is just ready. He is just on that thing, letting it go right there. His daughters are freaking out over here because he's throwing. It was great. It's what a finish line should be.
For me, that was the thing of my body, the rest of my body, my legs and everything. I was still strong, but my stomach's like, hey, I got a little more business to do over here. And
it was hilarious.
And then but you're right. Coming around that corner and realizing that right up ahead is the end. Like, you've accomplished it, and you're going to be able to stop. You're going to be able to, like, it's done. You're going to be with your family. We're going to go, and you've done it. And I don't know. Yeah, I saw that crack on the ground. I remembered starting, those hours before, right on that place, running this way. It was really satisfying.
The sweetness of the finish line. People ask me about running, and I will tell them that, look, it's not the run that I always love the most. It's not the running I always love the most. It's that finish line. It is about, I put all this work in. I'm going to run. There's got a lot of pain. Yeah, I love running. I love the feeling of being strong and all that. But crossing that finish line and going, I did it. And now this time we did it. Like, we both accomplished something, and we went about it two different ways. You were running it by yourself here. I was running in Missouri and Florida. But when we got there, it was, how am I going to push my brother to the end? And you were like, how am I going to push my brother to the end? There was you putting that much work, because believe it or not, and you know this, I've lost my stomach more than once in these races. And it's the worst thing. So I knew exactly how awful you were going through. And I'm just like, this dude is just not stopping. And I am going to make sure. I tried to do everything I could to not be a jerk out there and not be annoying and not to, because it's very easy to go, come on, let's just go a little bit more. But I also know that doesn't always work. And when your stomach and when you're not feeling well, sometimes you have to have different strategies to help your partner get there. And I was digging in my bag. I was fine. I was digging it all in my bag, trying to figure out what can I do to help Cody both keep moving, but yet not be that annoying dude. It's like, come on, I got to run. So, yeah, it was, all right. It was quite the day.
So we won. We got our gold Twix medals.
Yeah.
I will say that I tried to save this until we recorded, but I held it in my hand and I had to let it go.
I have since drank at least 20 Coke Zeros since the end of that race.
But I've only drank one. This was all I had, was this one.
So I got to
get some more.
I had a whole bunch.
So the question on everybody's mind, all the thousands of people that are going to watch this, will there be another RunHard Brothers Marathon?
I don't know how there can't be, Cody. I don't know how there can't be. I mean, it was and I don't care if nobody else runs it. I had a ton of fun. What I would love is for Andrea to be there, for more of our family to be there. I missed
her being there.
Yeah, Maya and the kid. Like, the more people that you can be there, just either laughing at you or cheering for you or helping you, amazing.
Right. All right. Well, we're going to be closing in on our time here. So, ending today, we got several things. I think you got it there in front of you. What was your biggest marathon lesson in one sentence?
It's never going to be perfect, but the finish is always going to make it worth it. It's just never going to be perfect. Your training can be immaculate. You can hit every time. You can hit everything, and you never know what's going to happen between the start and the finish. But when you get to the finish, it doesn't matter what took place. That's the story. The finish is the reward. That just whatever it takes to get there, get there. And what you'll learn will make you better on the next one. So that's a lot of sentences, but
I was going to say that's a lot of sentences.
So if I'm breaking that down into one sentence, it's never going to be perfect, comma. So just finish anyway.
Yeah. RunHard always finish. There you go.
Yeah.
For me personally, there was a very real practical lesson of eat real food on the course. That's going to be me.
Yeah.
You and I are close to the same size, but I've got a very, 4,300 calories is a lot to lose. And so I know that I've trained before with those long runs of eating a banana or eating something mid-run that's helped me a whole lot. So give that a shot next try. And so for me, biggest lesson is just keep learning, keep growing, and keep going.
Yeah, for sure.
I think every time one of the biggest things in training for this marathon that has come out is how fun it is to encourage others, not to run, but to do something better for themselves, to be healthy. And for a lot of the people in my life, there have been a lot of people that watching us have started running. How do you encourage anyone thinking about running? A lot of times I hear it, I don't think I could do it, really means I wish I could, but I don't know how. So how do you encourage people to run?
So I think there's two things. First of all, everybody should look at you and I. There is no two people that are non-prototypical runners in the entire world than you and I. And yet we get out there and we run.
Right.
Running is about you. That's the biggest thing I can tell you, is that the social media, all the things, even your watch can be a deterrent to running. It is about just go out there and try. If you run 30 seconds and walk for 10 minutes, awesome, because you're going to get better. But make running about you, not about what other people think of you. Make it about you. And there's a story about Joan Benoit Samuelson, who she won a gold medal in the Olympics. She's one of the greatest women. She's one of the greatest marathoners of all time, men, women, whoever. When she was in her prime, she was embarrassed to run on the roads because she thought people would laugh at her running. It doesn't matter who you are. She was the greatest ever. I mean, she told that in a story one time when I was sitting in a room, and she told that story, and I'm like, who am I? Like, let me just go run. And so find people, create a group, create a community. And there's a community out there that just wants to see you run and just wants you to enjoy yourself. And don't worry about your view, big, small, tall, short, whatever. Go find a mailbox that you can never run to and run to it. And then when that becomes easy, run to the next mailbox and make sure you high five somebody, even if it's a tree limb, even if it's that mailbox. Reward yourself, but don't worry about what people are looking at. Don't worry about what the watch says. Just go out there and feel exhaustion. Exhaustion's a reward. It's okay. It's good. And just be really proud of your effort.
Yeah, no, that's good. Hey, I think we're coming close to the end of the time. I will say that we run a lot of races. This may be one of the best ever.
Yeah.
Nobody else can dispute it because they weren't there.
That's exactly right. It was definitely well run. Like,
it was the
race committee,
the staff of this,
unbelievable. The committee commended. Really should be put up on a pedestal and, looked at.
As to the future of this podcast, who knows what's going to happen? This may be the only one, but we may have tons more. Lots of topics to cover. March Madness coming up. I was looking. Carolina is absolutely slaughtering San Diego State. So not really even worth the I picked that one. So I'm good to go. I'm calling Duke all the way to the end. I think my hot take, and this isn't going to come as a surprise, but I think Liberty's going to beat Oregon, and they'll go to the second round. As much as I'd love to say they're going to do it twice, I think they'll meet Arizona and meet their doom. Arizona goes to meet Duke. Duke's going to beat them. Duke's going to go all the way. Duke national championship this year.
Can I not pick Georgetown?
I don't. Do they even play basketball anymore?
I've been picking Georgetown since I was 9 years old. Like, what?
I know.
Even when they don't even make it. If that dude's ankle gets better, I don't see how Duke loses. I mean, that guy is unbelievable. So
I think he could have played in the ACC championship game. They just didn't to keep him safe. So I think he'll be fine.
But I think there's some. I mean, Alabama has a team. They have a team that can get hot. Tennessee's not horrible. Like, there's some teams out there that can get on a roll. Duke's pretty strong, and for a fact, me even saying those words hurts my tongue. All right. And if Christina is listening, I will absolutely.
Hey, Christina,
negative.
She's actually right over there. Rice just called a Duke national championship.
That's right.
She said, "That's right."
We can edit that out in post, right? We can edit that out in post.
Hey, friends, if this makes it online, follow us on our socials. On X, I'm at Moomaw55. On Instagram, I'm at Moose_Moomaw. He is
RunHard Reist, just about everywhere. RunHard Reist on TikTok, RunHard Reist on Instagram. RunHard.
We'll put them all down below.
Yeah, RunHard. Yeah, it's a whole bunch of RunHards because everything is hard when my running. I make it hard.
So this intro podcast, pilot episode, probably our longest one, telling our story, how we began. Maybe not, I don't know, but a lot of fun. I enjoyed it.
Yeah, it was good.
Let's do it again.
I'll be interested in how this thing rolls out. So yeah, it's fun.
All right, we gotta sign off in the way that's only appropriate for this one, and I'll let you do it.
Yeah, run hard, always finish. Turn those goals into accomplishments. Let's just go out there and have a great time. Get those miles in. All right. Good luck out there.